Good afternoon and welcome to the February 22nd, 2022 Board of Public Works and Safety. It's all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Becky Gibson.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Eric?
If you'll indulge me just a moment before we pray, I want to share something with you. I heard a phrase years ago, and we've tried to encourage our children and our grandchildren with it. And it goes like this: good, better, best. Never, never rest till the good gets better and the better gets best. So we've encouraged them not to quit. Gracious God, we thank you for this opportunity to call upon your name for this meeting. We thank you for each and every one who is here today. You've blessed us with supportive people on this board who seek the welfare of this community. Loving Father, we thank you most of all for being here in our midst. Let your presence be made known as this meeting begins today. Thank you, Father, for we know that you're always attent to the prayers of your people. We give you thanks and praise in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, sir. I'd like to welcome everyone and remind you to please turn your cell phone ringers off, and we'll begin the meeting with roll call.
Brian Dobb. Becky Gibson.
Present.
Diana Phillips.
Present.
And Jim Barrett.
Here.
Okay, we have the minutes from the February 7th, 2022 meeting. Are there any additions and corrections to those?
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion, a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Just so you know, I will be slowing down the vote process with Diana being on Zoom. I tend to rush that, so it's hard for me to step back and slow down, but we will be a little slower just for that reason. Item 3, new business. Mr. Duncan, you're up first.
I could be last. No, I'm just here to ask, we're hosting the boys sectional again this year, which is great for us, so. And if you were at the game Friday night, you know, there's a chance that we could be a little crowded. So we're always trying to park our buses down Indiana Avenue, so if we can get those blocked off, that's what we're asking, so we can keep people from parking along that east side, so we can park the opposing team buses down that street and save them a parking spot, so.
Give the exact date and time.
Yeah, March 1st, 2nd, 4th, and 5th are the 4 dates. Depending on, I know in the past, I think they just brought the barricades and we've had people go out and put them out after school is out, so.
Okay. So
If that's possible, that would work great. I'm just still working on finding some people that will monitor that side of the building, so.
Okay.
I'm sorry, what were the dates again?
March 1, 2, 4, and 5.
Okay.
So and there's one game on Tuesday and one game on Saturday, and then there's 2 on Wednesday and Friday, so.
What time on Saturday would you need that closed?
Saturday is a 7:30 start, so we probably don't need it closed until sometime after 5. I don't expect people are gonna start showing. We won't open the doors until at least 6 at the earliest.
I know what time the buses got there, so.
Yeah, I'd say, and they can't get on the floor like they do ahead of time, so they have to wait.
Okay.
So I would say if they start arriving by 6, that'll be as early as anybody would probably get there, would be my guess, so. But we appreciate if it can happen.
Any other questions?
I move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion, a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you very much, sir.
Appreciate it.
Pastor Oakland's not going to be here. He had to cancel. Mr. Benz requesting approval for a bucket drive for the Tateman Christmas party.
First, thank you for having me here. It's the time of year where the Fraternal Order of Eagles carries out what's called the boot drive. I'm sure many of you are familiar with the boot drive here in town. Right now, it looks as if our boot drive will be on October the 8th, 2022. It will begin at 10 a.m. and run until 4 p.m. Okay, and we have 2 places where the individuals are involved. One will be at 6th and Grand. The other will be at 24th and Grand. So that's where we go. This has been very similar for many, many, many years. So our people have done well. The final thing will be with the materials that we use at the two spots, the 6th and Grand and 24th and Grand. The materials that are there, we picked those up from the street department on Friday, October 7th. That's the day prior to the boot drive. And once that's over, I'll put those in my car and I'll take those back to the street department on Monday morning, which is October the 10th. So that's where we are.
Any questions?
Motion to approve Mr. Ben's request.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Okay, thank you very much, sir.
Thanks, all of
Good
you.
evening.
Thank you very much.
Up next, we have Mr. Cooley, the CHS track coach, requesting permission to conduct a 5K run.
Hi, thanks. Yeah, we are going to put on our annual 5K run. We haven't done it for a couple of years, but I gave Mayor Frank a copy of the streets. Really, I just need that, if you could approve that. And it's basically just Indiana and Ohio that we run down, and it's about an hour or so. So I was just looking for you to approve that route.
And then make sure you get with Brad on that, with the street department, on making sure the safety and everything for the intersection closures and all that is coordinated with the street department,
Okay,
so they can work with you on that.
okay.
Is it the same route you've done in the past?
Yeah, it's the same route we've always done. Just haven't had it since the pandemic, so we're back to it.
Any questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve Mr. Cooley's request for conduct a 5K.
I move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, up next, we have the public hearing on the confirmatory resolution and approval of 2022-08. I will open up the public hearing if there's anyone out there for that. Brad, you're here too, so. Clint, is anyone out there from the public? Nope. Then I will close the public hearing. And is there any questions that the Board of Works has on resolution 2022-08? It's the Department of Stormwater for the Stormwater Waste District.
I don't have any questions. You need a motion to approve.
Yes, sir. Yes,
So
sir.
moved.
I have a motion to approve resolution number 2022-08.
Second.
I have a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you very much. Okay, approval resolution 2022-09, which is the bond resolution for the project. Brad, you got anything you want to add to this?
I really don't, unless anybody has any questions. This is just the necessary paperwork we go through in this process for the headworks project at the wastewater plant. So if anybody has anything they'd like to ask, I'll certainly try to answer.
Sure everybody's read everything. If you have any questions? If not, we'll take a motion to approve resolution 2022-09, the bond resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you very much. Item E, approval of the OOR client list. Carrie Riley.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm Carrie Riley with Administrative Resources. I haven't met a lot of you. We assisted the city in receiving a grant for the owner-occupied housing program. And what we'll do is, we've gotten obviously several applications for the program. And I have gone through and rank those, score those out, and what we have given you is a list of the first 6 owners that have provided all the paperwork, income eligible, proof of ownership, proof of insurance, all the information that's required. We've already done inspections, so all the work that they have requested is warranted. And we have actually also began the environmental process on that. So basically, at this point, we just want to submit these initial 6 owners to you for approval. And if they are approved, then we'll move forward with bidding each of the homes out for construction.
I wanted to bring you in just because this is really our first time with
No, that's
ARA.
perfectly
And I
fine.
wanted them to explain the process, because a lot of people don't understand the process in its entirety. The advantage of using ARA, that removes us from the process, and they were doing
Yeah.
a complete selection, they were handling everything. A lot of people don't understand that.
Yeah, yeah.
So I wanted everyone to understand on this board how that process is working.
Yeah, and a lot of people have asked about, the scoring criteria. So what we've done is set up, there's certain elements, if they fall within certain income limits, the lower the income limit that they have, the higher the score. If they are handicapped, elderly, some of those kind of help with the scoring. So what we've done is taken everybody that had applied, put all those numbers in. I've got a pretty lengthy list here, and we started with the higher score. And the reason why we've kind of broken it down, our goal is to just have 2 groups, it may be 3, depending on how the process shakes out. So we wanted to start with just, we're hoping to do 13 to 15 homes. Obviously, it just depends on, how much work. If somebody just needs an HVAC, we're going to be able to assist somebody else if they just need a water heater and a ramp or something like that. So as far as an exact number, it'll kind of shake out at the end. So a lot of times what we do is we'll just bid out the first, 6 to 8 homes or whatever. 2, because it's a lot of times it's kind of hard to find contractors, and so we don't want to bid 15 homes all at once and then they not get done. Or this way too, if we have a contractor that we're not real sure of, we sure don't want to give them 8 homes and then find out they can't handle the work or they're just not very good. So by this way, we'll do 6, we'll get those under construction, kind of see how things are going, and then once we have those in the works, I will have already started on the process of getting information on the next group of applicants, getting that information. That way the kind of second round is in the works. So yeah, as far as the process, once these homeowners are approved, then, and as soon as which I just got today, approval from the State Historic Office, that there's no issues, we can move forward. So this week, first of next, I will bid those out to the contractors. I'll give the contractors about 2 to 3 weeks to put their bids together. They'll send those back to me. Once I have those, I will come back up here, meet with the homeowners, sign the paperwork. It is a forgivable home loan program. So as long as the applicants live in, own, and have insurance on their house, depending on the amount borrowed, but up to 3 years, they don't have to pay any of it back. If they move, sell, and drop their insurance in that 3-year period, it's prorated on how much gets paid back. So yeah, we monitor all of that for you. We handle all the paperwork, we handle all the closing paperwork, handle the drawdowns from the state, and that money then will be sent to the clerk treasurer's office, who will issue the checks and so forth. So yeah, we try to make it as easy and streamlined as possible for you.
How many total applications do we have? I forget the number. There's quite a few.
I haven't added, here's our list.
It's
So
between 50
the ones
and
in the white,
75.
it's probably about 50, 60 people.
Yeah, so.
So there's quite a few applicants, and then of course, I've had a few homeowners call, since then, and well, hey, can we be added to the list? And so it gets kind of tricky, but yeah, there's obviously a lot of interest, and that's something too. Not really sure what the Office of Community and Rural Affairs is going to do, whether they'll do this program again. Right now, they've set these up as pilot programs. So they allowed communities who had done this program in the past and grant administrators who administered these in the past. So they awarded 4 of them. We're doing 3 of them. And actually we're doing one, had one in Henry County that they did an extension for. So actually I have 4 of them that we're working on. And if it goes well, then they'll open it, I would assume, open it back up for, community to come back in, or new communities, or however.
It just shows there's a lot of people wanting this, there's not very many being selected.
Yeah.
Big
Plus,
need out
there's a
there.
big need, but also,
Yes.
I want to show the point that we're using you for specific reasons to handle all this, but
Yes.
also to remove us, because
Yes.
sometimes we get blamed for, well, you guys have influence over it. And I'll ask this question because I know the answer. How many times have I called you to influence any of them?
Do you have it? This is the first time I've met you, first time I talked to you.
So, a lot of people think that we try to influence them,
Yes,
and we do
absolutely.
not. We
No.
do not.
And we try to, like I said, make it fair as far as the scoring, obviously. One of the things, and, try not to, be insensitive to needs, but, we'll get phone calls, but I really need da-da-da-da-da, and, we have to go through the process, because obviously the need is great. And that also, is why, for a few reasons, we come out and do the inspections. Our inspector's been working on these programs with us for several years. We're not going to go in and do work that isn't warranted. Just because somebody asks for a roof doesn't mean that they get it. We'll check it out, make sure that it's definitely needed. So yeah, we try to take a lot of that weight off of the city where there's, no influence whatsoever. We have a process that we go through to make sure that everything is fair. So.
Will there a lien be against the property
Yes.
once complete
Yes.
for the 3 years?
Yes, yeah. And if a homeowner sells, moves in that time frame, then, or even at the end of the 3-year period, we will release that lien for them. So I keep track of all of this, and I have a database where 3 years from the date of the closing, I will set a reminder, and we'll go in 3 years and we'll release those liens. So yeah, nobody from the city has to take care of that.
Great.
And the city will, once I get through the closing part, the city will have copies of all of this. If anything is needed ahead of time, obviously let me know. But once the loan is complete, I will have a copy of that to the city. And then once we have the final inspection, that paperwork will be given as well, so.
So if it's determined that perhaps someone's home is more than what it's up to, I mean, does that ever happen?
Yeah, occasionally, and that will kind of, if we get a home that, and yes, they're all different scenarios. Occasionally we'll get something that, might be 16,000 or so. The limit on the home is up to 15,000. It is possible that we could do a little bit more if we get a home that really needs a handicap roof or a handicap ramp and a roof and something. It is possible that we can do more. We try to set a range around the 15,000, but some homeowners aren't going to get those. We've gone to a couple homes where they just need a handrail and a water heater. So obviously that opens up either another applicant, which is what we hope for, or if we get an item back that's, the roof is just really, really in bad shape. So there's a lot of unknowns, but yeah, it is possible that we could. We're definitely not going to turn somebody away that just because their bid came in over, deny them or whatever. We'll work through some scenario.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
I think it's a very impressive program. And
Yeah.
I like the way it's set up, and I agree with the mayor. Becky, it's great. So I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you.
I have a motion to approve the OOR client list. Do I have a second?
Second?
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Great,
very
thank
much.
you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, we have approval of abolishment 2-year outstanding checks. Rosemary?
According to State Board of Accounts, this is something that the city needs to do for every 2 years. All checks over 2 years old that hasn't been cashed Happy void.
Any questions? Pretty simple, straightforward. Have a motion to approve the abolishment of two-year outstanding checklist.
Aye.
Have a motion
Second.
and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Oops. Did you say anything? Yes. Okay. About jumped the gun. Any opposed, same sign? John, can you turn that TV up just a tick? Thank you. I'm a drummer. I'm a little hard hearing. Too many years playing the drums. Can't help it. Okay, item I, requesting approval for BSM to perform work on the right-of-way at 800 North Central, 408 North Central, and 409 West 30th Street. Brad?
I recently went with a representative of BSM and they're doing all this work for Comcast and looked at these sites where they're wanting to do a boring and they all check out okay. And I recommend you give them permission to do this.
Motion to approve.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you, sir. Okay. This one we probably need to do the first one by itself, the other, which, well, it's gonna be all approval for, I just do the same thing, it's all for one additional appropriation. So I've got 3 different additional appropriations here, actually 5, so it's gonna be, a little different here. So I've got the first one is a quote for the Longwood Bridge, everyone has a quote to finish the bridge. All of these will be pending city council approval. The first one is going to be coming out of an additional appropriation from general fund, so that's why it's going to be pending their approval. But we have the contract. We know that the price of materials are going through the roof, and it's just going to keep going up, so we're trying to secure this so we can get this bridge project completed. That's the first one for the bridge. You want to do each one at a time? You want me to explain them all, and it's up to you.
Go ahead.
You have a preference, Rosemary?
Whatever you want to do.
Okay, I'll explain them all. If you have questions, then you can ask. The approval for the quote on the police cars, Randy, you out there, sir? Getting quotes, just so you know, is an absolute nightmare right now. You just can't get them. We call some people and they're like, we can't even give you a quote because we don't know if we're going to get anything and what the price is going to be. So we found a company that has, that's all they do is police cars.
All they do is police
And even
cars.
that is it's a stretch. So again, this will be pending city council approval of additional appropriation. We have to do an additional appropriation on these next 3, I'm going to read, because it is the ARP dollars. And so that we got the money, those had to be put in a fund, but in order to expend that money, we have to do an additional appropriation. So it is the ARP dollars, so it's not coming out of general, but we still have to do additional appropriation. So what we're doing is, we're trying to build a vehicle replacement program, equipment replacement program, and we've been doing 2 cars a year for police in particular. And so we've done some new, I think when I was on council, what did we do, a couple of new ones?
Yeah, the first 2 years we did you.
Yeah.
But we couldn't get caught up fast enough.
2 years, 30 cars, 15-year cycle, and we've been buying used cars just because the prices are through the roof right now. So we're trying to come up with a plan to do the replacement cycle. The biggest issue we have had, and every time it comes up, is how do you get it started? Because we're so far behind. I mean, 30 cars, 15 years. We've done a great job maintaining what we have, but we're trying to get a cycle going. I don't have that cycle built yet, but we know we can use the ARP dollars to help start that cycle. So what we're trying to do is take the ARP money and spend it as wisely as we can, pairing it with the money that the chief has in his budget for new vehicles to hopefully start that replacement cycle. So we are asking for 6 vehicles, and that will give us a big jump on starting that cycle. We've been meeting with Adam and some other leasing companies, just trying to get it, what's this look like, and that's always the biggest obstacle is getting this thing started. So this is a shot in the arm to get it started, really, is what we're trying to do. We don't have the backside built yet. It's probably gonna take the rest of the year or more to figure that out once we see budget numbers and how we can do this, so. But this is a big shot in the arm, so with the police in particular, this one is with this police company. They will come outfitted, ready to go. Only thing we have to do is decal them. But they'll come outfit, ready to go. We can put them in service. But to be honest, we can't get quotes.
Yeah, I don't know if Chad's mentioned it, but yeah, we cannot get a vehicle this year anywhere. We even checked with our local car dealers, and they can't even give us a quote until '23. So,
It's just the unknown. And even if we did order new ones, when we get them, I mean,
You don't know.
you're getting ready to hear from Clint, how far out. Well, we're doing the same thing on the ambulances, how far out that is. It's a difficult situation right now, in vehicles in particular. With the economy, the way things are going up, so we want to go ahead and use the ARP dollars, pair it with money in his budget to really advance what we can do in this first round. So we're trying to still be very frugal. Just because you get money from the feds, we don't want to be wise with it. We're trying to be very frugal and trying to maximize every dollar we can. So we put a lot of time into really hashing these numbers around. We've thrown these around I don't know how many times. Just trying to do what's best for this community and also to get where we need to go. So that's what, if you have any questions for the police chief while we're doing him, but the additional appropriation from the police would be, where are you? Did I go out of order?
They're in different orders. It was 185,116.
Yeah, there we go. We're taking 185,116 out of ARP funds, 80,000 out of the current budget, for a total projected cost of $247,647 to get 6 police vehicles. So if there are any questions on that one, I can move on to the next one, then we can do them all in one group if you want. Is there any question on the bridge, by the way, before I did that? No. Diana, sorry, I keep forgetting you're on TV. Okay.
No, I'm fine.
The next one will be the ambulances. Clint, come on up again. Same issue with the ambulances. I'm looking to do an additional appropriation for $282,000 and $282,072. There's $74,000 coming out of some relief funds we gathered, and then $200,000 out of the fund that we take 10% out to purchase new ambulances. Again, Clint gave me, it was a projected quote, and in 2 weeks it went up. It was $30,000.
Yeah.
$40,000.
$40,000 for
$40,000 in 2 weeks they went up. So, again, if they're hard to find, and how far out are, if we order these today, they're 12 months, isn't it?
The first one we'll get is 13 to 14 months. The second one will be 24 to 26 months.
Yeah, so,
And that's the one that's 24 to 26 months is what we have been running. It's what they call the Ultramedic, the Road Rescue. The one that we'll get in 12 to 14 months is the Wheel Coach. It's kind of a step down, but I didn't feel comfortable waiting over 2 years to get another truck. So that's, we're kind of hedging in our bet a little bit on kind of that step down model. So we're getting one of each is kind of the way I was going with that.
so again, that's really the same issues. They're hard to get. And we try to secure those rates so they don't go through the roof.
If you want a Chevy chassis, they won't even quote you because they don't know when they're gonna get them.
It's a tough time to be trying to be buying vehicles, so. Is there any questions for Clint while he's here? I mean, the ambulances are a big purchase, much needed. We're also nervous about being that far out, so. Again, the ARP funds for those would be $282,072 to be additional appropriated out of the ARP funds for those. The rest of it comes out of his budget. No? Okay.
All right.
The last one, John, you're here, sir. TV3, we, just so you know, and I'll give you a little bit of history, and John can explain it better than I can. If I'm wrong, correct me, but he is funded solely through cable franchise fees. I watch those like a hawk, so does John, actually, and I've voiced some concern over that, and he's got some equipment that it's old, it's outdated, and John maintains it very well, and he's very good at fixing it, which a lot of it is fixed. But it's old and outdated, and one of the reasons we can use the ARP dollars for this is because we do all of our meetings, like with the Zoom, we do broadcasting the sports events. That actually helps because when we live stream it, we can. All of our public hearings, they take care of, so the ARP dollars is used to help outfit and replace some of his equipment needs. So I don't remember the exact list. I know it was cameras. We had a generator for the what do you call the big one?
Production van.
The production van,
And the
because
computer.
a lot of places he goes, he has to either plug into shore power, which can damage equipment if it's not enough shore power. So this generator will protect his equipment inside and allow him to do whatever he needs to do everywhere he goes. The other was a computer for that, correct?
Yes,
And
for the
a couple other
production
like laptops. What, is that everything? Off from my memory.
I believe so.
Okay. So we were looking to request $96,766. That'd be a huge boost to John. He does need a van, but we talked about some other ways. I really can't do the van because he has a production van, which is fine for the art dollar. So he uses that. The key term is mobile production. So that's going to be kind of the key term we can use for that. So we are requesting $96,766. If you have any questions, you're more welcome to ask them. Okay, that was easy. I tried to explain it so everyone can understand it, but, so basically, I need approval for the, now, all of these again is pending council's approval of, the additional appropriation, which won't be till the end of March. I was wanting to do the 1st of March, but I've got some issues I'm still working on, and I won't have solved, and I gotta do it at the end of March. No, it'll be the first meeting in March. Is that right? I got 2 of them I gotta do. I think it's the first meeting in March. I got another I gotta do for the second meeting in March.
Yeah, this will be March
Yeah.
7th.
Getting confused, so we will do additional appropriations on that day, but we want to go ahead and get this secured. We can go ahead and tell the vendors it's approved pending that, and they can hold us and lock it into that, so.
I'll make a motion, we go ahead with approval for these projects.
Second.
Have a motion and a second, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried, thank you very much. Oh, that was a lot, I apologize, but wanted to explain everything. Okay, item N, approve resolution 2022, Board of Public Works and Safety electronic meeting policy. Yeah. What this is you say, why are we doing this when we have an electronic meeting going on right now? But technically, we're still under the governor's emergency order. This would be the last meeting we could use for this. And I know Dave and I talked about this with Jeff, and we're like, we know city council has one approved. Was that cover all of our departments, or does each board have to have it? And Dave's recommendation was, as he's reading through the law and legislature, that was for each board to have their own. So the park board can produce their own policy. So any board can produce their own policy. My redevelopment commission can do this. So this board needs to have its own policy so we can continue this. It follows the same guidelines and the rules as the one the city council produced, but it's your own policy. So, is there any questions on that? If not, I'd like to approve the resolution for board.
Well, all these requirements are required by state law.
State law. We didn't change them.
No.
That's exactly from state law. Thank you, Dave.
I'd like to make a motion, we approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed,
Aye.
same sign. Motion carried. Thank you very much. Okay, and then item O, I have the release of deed restriction agreement. Rosemary?
This is a deed restriction, just releasing it that should have been released back in 11. And that is one of the advantages of having ARA administer this grant. She has the database and she will keep track of when we need to release those liens once those are completed. So this is just a lien release that was missed.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you very much. Move on down to department matters. Greco, sorry, sir.
You've got 3 quotes that we had, the windows and, I think a door needs replaced at the water plant. And they are mostly original, it's just time, so, I got 3 quotes and tried to talk to all the local people and give them a shot at it. And you see how it turned out, so I would recommend that you take the low quote. We met with each one of those people, and the guys think that this company's just fine and they'll do a good job. So,
Yeah, can you read the 3?
Yes.
you want me to read them out loud?
Yes, please.
Sure. Something fun there. Catron's Glass in Richmond was $19,000 $998. Connersville Mirror Works was $28,562. And Scott Door Service was $23,976.05.
We need a motion to approve, is Catron's glass
Yeah.
for $19,998.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Thank you. Clint Harden.
You should have a letter in your packet requesting a resignation of paramedic Joe Steiner. He has not been working, so this is just kind of to come before you to have an official resignation.
Motion to approve the resignation.
Have a motion is second, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign.
Can you send that to me? I didn't.
I'll send you and Shelley both a copy.
Thank you.
Okay, Catherine, good. You're up.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Out of order.
So we were just talking about the difficulty in buying vehicles. We've been looking at buying a tractor with a cab on it for a couple of years, and we think this would be a good year to do it. I sent you the 3 quotes, and the one numbered, number 1, is the one we would like to purchase, and mostly because they have this one in stock. And it is what we're looking for, and the only other one that was a little bit less money was number 3, and they are not sure when they would have that model in. But I believe they even have 2 of these right now. And we felt like they gave us a good value for, we're gonna trade in our current tractor for this model.
Any questions? Read off the one that you want to purchase, because I know the rest of them will be long.
It is from Zimmer Tractor in Brookville. It's a New Holland tractor, and the total cost is $28,770. And that includes the trade-in. They're taking $20,000 for our current tractor.
Okay, any questions?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion is second, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Good grief, get ahead of us again. All right.
So we're getting ready to talk about this proposal from Rundle Ernstberger Associates, who is the architect for Second Street Park. Part of this contract is some more engineering costs. So if you look at the second to last page, it's those last 3 numbers for Eagle Ridge, Lynch Harrison, and Alt and Witzig. These are like the geotech study, which will tell us, they'll do some core samples, and they'll tell us, you know, if we're gonna hit anything when we dig. It also includes the civil and structural review. So regardless of what else happens with the budget, these are just things that it's just best practice to do. So I was asking permission to apply to the UEA to see if they would fund those costs or part of those costs. I've talked with them, and they've sent me the application. It's due a couple weeks from now. So, and if we don't get the grant, we do have the money to pay for it, and what we've raised is just, you know, that just puts money back toward other things if they can pay for these types of things, so.
Motion to approve the request.
Have a motion to apply for the UEA grant.
Second.
Have a second, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Okay. You want to do the contract next?
Yeah.
Okay, I guess you already explained the contract, so we need to make a motion to approve the contract with REA.
Motion.
Have a motion
Second.
and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Do you have a copy of the contract that needs signed?
I think I just wrote on it. Does that have a signature page? I may have to get you on the signature page.
Yep, thank you.
Okay, move on down to department reports. Chief Harden.
I feel like I'm gonna wear the rug out, going back and forth with meetings today.
Clint, I found my sheet, so you don't need to send me a copy of
I'm
that.
still gonna send it to
Okay.
you. I knew it was there. I knew I put it in that folder. That's all right. So I say if I only screw up one thing a day, I'm doing good. So you should have my monthly report for January with our mileage totals, our total calls for service. Do have a little bit of the update on the employees off. The one that has been off with the back injury is actually back at this point since I've put this together. The one from leave of absence, you approved a resignation, and then I still have one EMT off with a fractured arm. The one that was off due to surgery is actually back today. Today's her first day. So we're making some progress in that regards. The legislative update, House Bill 1112 has passed the House. When I wrote this, it was assigned to the Senate Appropriations Committee. It has passed out of the Senate Appropriations Committee and now is in front of the full Senate. I have not seen where they have made any movement on that. There are some other bills related to EMS and EMS billing. This one probably has the most traction at this point in time. A lot of them are kind of similar, but this one has made the furthest so far. We had an Indiana Board of Pharmacy inspection on January 25th, first one ever, due to the change of the laws, and we passed. There was only two very small things that they recommended, and those have been rectified since that point in time. We are only the fourth service to obtain our state license for medications. So we're way ahead of the curve. I have applied for the DEA license. They don't give you a lot of feedback. You submit it, you don't get an email that says you did it, you just submit it, and I assume that they'll contact me at some point in the future. So, but we must do this to stay compliant with the state and federal laws. We did install two more of the Knox medication storage systems. Had the first two installed in October. This really improves the accountability and the storage for our medications, and it was it went over very big with the Board of Pharmacy that they really like that. There's an audit trail. I can tell down to the second when somebody opens it, when somebody closes it, if there's a possible intrusion, if it's got a low voltage in the battery, it tells me. So they were very pleased with that. So I was glad to get two more done, and the trucks you approved are spec'd with these going forward. So. Do anybody have any other questions on the monthly report? If not, on the yearly side, I'm just going to do a real high overview. There's there's a table of contents. I break it down, our patients and their age and genders and all of this sort of thing, our destinations, what we were dispatched on. There is, if you look at the numbers, and if you look real close, there's a disparity between the numbers. There'll be the dispatch numbers, and then there'll be patient care report numbers. Those are two different things. We go on calls where it's, like yesterday, it was dispatched as an accident with unknown injuries. Well, by the time that our crews could get there, it was a property damage only. So that counts as a call, but there's no patient care report to go along with that because there was no patient. So we were technically disregarded prior to arrival. So there is a disparity in those numbers. No one's asked, but if you look real close, that you would find that. We had 4,419 calls for service, which is a new record. We've never done that many calls before. Had over 74,000 miles logged. Received several grants, had over 200 man-hours of special event coverage, including track events, football, demolition derbies, and the high school rodeo. Graduated Scott Brown from paramedic school. That was a big highlight of our year. Multiple training courses, and we did have with the assistance of the city council, we did have our like a review and rate change for the first time since 2015. So really a busy year. On page 35, I'm starting to get enough numbers where I can start to trend stuff, so it's way near the back. And it says charges, adjustments, and payer mix. So you can kind of see how many calls were billed, how much revenue was generated, how much per trip was generated, our percentage of advanced life support versus basic life support. So we had over $3 million in charges for 2021. Mandatory adjustments was 1.7 million. That was ones that we had to take either through law or negotiated contract that they were decreased. So that's just kind of the cost of doing business. The adjusted charges was 1.2 million, and we recouped just over $1 million of that. We had an 81% collection rate, which is actually very good. So, does anybody have any questions? I know there's a lot of information. If anybody has questions down the road, feel free to contact me. I know there's a lot of figures. It all makes really good sense to me, but you know, when you're trying to put it out there for someone else, maybe it doesn't. So
I don't have any questions, but I was just going to say it's always interesting to look at this, because I think it's very intensive and just gives me a better idea of what you do and how things are handled. So I appreciate the information. Thank you.
all righty.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you. Have a good afternoon.
You too.
Superintendent Good.
I know you've been sitting here a while, but it's been a good year at the park, so I want to take a minute to kind of recognize everything that we've done. Sorry for all the colors on this, but it was an easier way for me to kind of track what we did. So you can kind of see what we had set as goals for 2021, things that we had to take off the list. For example, like painting the upstairs of the Roberts building, we just decided that it's in good enough shape for now, things like that. Things that we've moved onto the list now for this year, so things that we're not quite ready to give up on, but that we didn't get time or money to do last year. And then lastly, the things that we accomplished last year. And a lot of these things are things that we added on at the last minute or throughout the year. John, were you able to get any of those pictures? No? Okay. We'll do those tonight, maybe. So the first thing I wanted to tell you about was, you know, some of the accomplishments we had facility-wise. So some of those things included like installing our disc golf course. That's been hugely popular. It's completely done, been repaired several times already. Over at Kittyland, we did take that border out. We've made some more repairs to that playground. We did have to remove the playground on Park Road, but you can see now the grass is growing, and I think it's kind of a nice open space. Nobody's going to get hurt. At the pool, we added 3 new umbrellas. Those are very much appreciated by everyone that visits. Another thing you may not have noticed is over on the northeast side of the park, where like the Kiwanis shelter is, the gazebo. The recovery bench is there in one of those islands. And we took the posts from over by the shop where we installed our new fence, and we put those around the grass area so people will stop pulling in right up next to that bench, or we were afraid something was going to happen, and so that was a project that we were glad to get done. We were able to add windscreen at the pool as well as at the tennis courts. We put mulch out at industrial. We did do the DNR pond analysis over at Smalley's. We made lots of improvements at Babe Ruth, a lot of which you can't really see. When we got down there our first spring, all of those buildings were packed full of junk, for lack of a better word. Cleaned all of those buildings out, got them in more usable condition. Noticed some things that we needed to fix inside, so those were safer. We did get a chance to take down on the old fast pitch field where that fence had been, looked like run over a couple of times. That's all been cleaned up and cleared out. It looks a lot better back there now. We did a lot of painting down there, so spent quite a bit of time down at Babe Ruth. Cleo, we had a couple problems with the fountain, but everything seems to be working. Should be right now. And programming wise, we had another good year. We did host our first donor event, which was a goal of mine. It was hugely unsuccessful. Chad, I think, was one of 2 people that came to our donor sponsored disc golf event, but we did host it, so I'm listing that as an accomplishment. We also hosted movies in the park. This was something that we got asked to do a lot, and thanks to the tourism board for giving us some money to buy the equipment, and then all of our sponsors who paid for those fees to show the movies. We showed 8 movies last summer. So I think a goal this year is going to be to do a better job of tracking the attendance and trying to figure out when people might come out before we announce a schedule. We had a really successful jack-o'-lantern jaunt and another trail event, and we had a really nice Christmas event too. So lots of good things facilities-wise. The other thing I wanted to really talk about too was, you might remember a while back I sent you guys this report from National Recreation and Park Service. I'm sure everybody read it like 3 times. But in case you forgot, there were a couple highlights from this report, and they do this every year. It's like the governing nonprofit agency for parks. So there's one in every state, and then there's a national. And so they do this every year. And part of their mission is to communicate to boards of works, mayors, city councils, the importance of parks as far as economic development goes, quality of life, livability, all those buzzwords. So one thing that they released this year, the things that were reported back to them of most value were parks improve the local tax base and increase property values. Quality parks and recreation are cited as one of the top 3 reasons that businesses cite in relocation decisions in numerous studies. Parks are the places that people go to get healthy and stay fit. So we all know our county needs that. And social importance, parks are a tangible reflection of the quality of life in a community. They provide identity for citizens and are a major factor in the perception of quality of life in a given community. Parks and recreation services are often cited as one of the most important factors in surveys of how livable communities are. And access to parks and recreation opportunities have been strongly linked to reductions in crime and to reduced juvenile delinquency. So those are just the things that I highlighted, because what I want to talk about next, which talks louder than me, is money. So back when I started in May of 2019. So from May to December of 2019, the park was able to fundraise $49,264. It was a pretty big number. Most of that came from a grant from Reed Health. The first huge project we did was we renovated the pickleball tennis courts. Sorry, Diana, I keep forgetting you're over there. So then in 2020, we almost doubled that number. In 2020, we raised $86,880. And when I sat and looked at this, what's interesting about that number is that $35,000 of that came from the Lions Club. a local civic club gave us $35,000. Part of that was to build a shelter, but the other part of that was this intangible study that was going to be the first steps toward, getting going on River's Edge. So even, this little civic club in our community is already forward thinking to how important these things are. Another big part of that year was disc golf. And what's so amazing about disc golf was 90% of that course was funded by businesses here in town. Churches, local businesses, and individuals. They said, we want this in our community, and we're going to put our money where our mouth is. And when you ask for sponsorships, we had so many we had to turn people away. So that leads us to this year, which I'm so excited to say this number right now. So in 2021, we raised $457,376. That's a lot of money. And we still, and granted, most of that is for Second Street Park. That number is up at almost $269,000. And once we get the numbers back for the in-kind labor, that number is going to be well over $500,000 that this tiny little parks department with volunteers raised. So who cares? What's the big deal? Like, yay, you raised a lot of money. The point is that this is where the nation's headed. Like, this is what they're telling us. And we are so lucky because our community gets it. And you know they get it because look at these numbers. Like, they doubled in the first year, and they, quadrupled in the third year. The funders realize it. Huge funders like Reed Health or our community foundation who have the capacity to give very large grants, all the way down to a disc golf sponsor. For Second Street Park, $51,000 came from people just like us. So when people say, oh, I only have $100 to give you, that added up to over $50,000 of that project. So I feel like we're at this pivotal point where we have all this energy, and you hear Chad talk about it, livability, quality of life. I think our community gets it, and I'm just so excited to be a part of it. And this year, I really want to focus on working more with the mayor and with Adam on our budget and our revenue and seeing where this can take us, because there are lots of communities whose superintendents are not as fortunate as me. Their mayors don't get the connection between economics and recreation, but it's there, and that's what I wanted to really promote in our annual report today, was taking all these projects and connecting it to this report from like 3 months ago. So that's all I've got. Did you guys have any questions?
Very good, thank you.
Yes.
Thank
good
you.
job. Thank you.
Scott, Chief Jones, sorry. Old habits are hard to break.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
First of all, I'd like to request that I start doing my reports before Catherine, because
Aw.
it's hard to compete with all that fundraising. Congratulations, by the way.
Did you buy anything for this year?
No, I'm working on that. Mine's gonna be a little bit shorter. Last month I presented all my totals and accomplishments, so this month I have a regular report. So we'll start off with the overtime for the month of January. The total was $4,033.14. You can see that was quite a bit less than last year's, which is a good thing, but I've got everybody healthy now, so that's also a good thing. Below the overtime, you'll see some fuel usage. It was requested that we include some fuel usage in our report. So as you can see, for the month of January, I used 744.5 gallons of fuel. Any questions on the front page? looking over at Diane, but I don't think she can tell when I'm looking at her.
I can tell.
Okay. We'll move on to the second page, the run report for January. Had a total of 184 incidents. And as you can see, there's a summary of all the incidents that we had for January. Next page, any questions on the incidents, I guess, before I move on? Next page, you'll see the training for January. We had a total of 57 instructed hours of training for January. And then last page, you'll see the inspections for January. You will start to see the new names on there because we're finally getting out and getting the other inspectors trained on how to use the software. I think they know how to do the inspections, but going out and doing it on a tablet, takes a little bit of training also. So we've got a couple scheduled for this week yet, so I'm gonna continue to go out with them and get them familiar on how to use that before I completely turn them loose. So, but they're doing a good job. I think the biggest struggle is using the new technology. So, but other than that, they're all doing a great job. Any questions?
No.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Chief Bolos. Nope, I'm sorry. Sorry, Chief. I skipped one, it's utilities and streets. Sorry. Threw a curveball. It's the fastest I've seen him jump up on the wall.
Yeah, I don't see that often. He's not even paying attention.
I know.
All right, should receive my January report and also annual report for utilities. We'll go ahead and do the January report. Pretty basic this time. Revenue disbursements, looks pretty good this month. Overtime was $9,224. 4,351 of that was scheduled overtime. Another 2,300 was a after-hour leak repair on 30th Street. The way payroll fell this time around, Christmas week is included in this, which increased it a little bit. That's why overtime's a little high, because we still have coverage on those holidays at the water plant and sewer plant. Other than that, I listed the projects that we are involved in at this time. A lot of construction items going on right now, keeping us pretty busy. Any questions on the monthly report before I go into the annual? Not for sure if you had a chance to read the annual report yet, but I'll go with some of the highlights. I'll go over each page. But the first 4 pages is pretty much information, general information about utilities, or organization structure, contact information, seniority, those type of items. Then I have a page that talks about our MS4 program. You hear us talk about that from time to time throughout the year. It kind of defines that and all the different steps to it. There's actually a lot to it. Page 6 and 7 is our department highlights. I'm not going to read all the highlights to you, but listed is just some of the items that we accomplish, and I have it broke down by department, office area, stormwater, wastewater, water plant, and those type of things. Then we go to a long-term control plan. The copy that's in here is our most up-to-date long-term control plan. Hopefully we can stick to this and finish this project up in the next few years if possible. Page 10 and 11 is our future goals. I want to spend a little time on that. Future planning is something that's very important in utilities. It's very expensive to run utilities, and we try not to be surprised by things down the road. So Brad and I, we talk a lot about planning. In here, it's just 3 years ahead, but we're always thinking 5-10 years ahead on projects, on things that might come out. It's very expensive. We just don't want any surprises. So we got the next 3 years listed, some of the things that we want to do. Some of the items we did get finished in 21, I'll carry in 22, and some of the things we already did, I got listed in 22. So just a little guide for us to try to keep organized. The other part of the report, pages, let's see, where am I at here? Some of the things that we have developed over the years, since 2014, when we both kind of took over the utilities, that we don't talk about a lot, is we have developed a vehicle replacement plan in the last 7 years, trying to replace one vehicle at a time, not wait for them all to go bad and have that just huge money we gotta come up with. So we've been replacing equipment all this time, equipment upgrades, or a replacement plan. You gotta have equipment that works when you get on site. So we are always updating our equipment. Example, 2020, we updated our camera truck, and this year we bought a portable lateral camera for the guys. So each year we try to improve our equipment, see what we need to upgrade. We also have a lift station upgrade plan, which we try to upgrade 2 lift stations a year, which we've been doing that. We also have developed a water well, water tower maintenance plan up to 2030, which includes video cleaning, repairing, updating, painting, and testing of the wells and the water towers that we've been trying to keep track of. We can't wait till they all go bad and try to fix them all in 1 year. So we've been trying to create maintenance plans. Some of our goals in 2022, we'll be upgrading our software in the office. I know Brad and Cindy, our office manager, has spent numerous hours researching, interviewing software providers, just trying to find out what best fits for us. So we're excited to get that underway and completed this year. This year we will install 700 new water meters. We will GPS our meter pits and service lines by adding them to our mapping, which kind of goes with our copper lead rule that's coming out. We're going to need to know our service lines, so we're trying to get a head start on that. Erin Johnson, our wastewater superintendent, she will inventory and renumber all of our manholes and catch basins through the city. Right now, we're working off 2 separate maps by 2 separate engineers that labeled them different numbers. So we're trying to get that combined in one, and plus there's been manholes added, taken away. So we're trying to get that all updated on our maps. Also, she is also heading a sewer line maintenance program. We're beginning to videotape our sewer mains, trying to do about 1,000 feet a month, just to try to get condition of our sewer lines, which really needs to be done. Also in my reports, I think it's page 12 and 13 is my typical revenue disbursements page that we hand out every month. This is for the year, and also the overtime report. Page 14 is our maintenance operation report. Just a lot of numbers. If you get bored, they're fun to look at, I guess. But it's broke down to the office information, water plant, sewer plant. Just kind of overview of thing that's happening. Next page is this report is a new item. Never had it in here before. It's a map of Connersville, and the blue squares represents water main breaks in 2021. I can go back to 2014, and we can overlay all those years, and you kind of see the hot spots. It's part of our future planning, things like that. So I added that this year. And page 17 is a list of our bonds information, our payoff date, and our monthly payments. Let's get the water plant info. Let's see. I promise I'm about done. The pages 18 through 29 is our detailed budget and how we come up with these numbers. We pretty much look at expense of 2020, 2021, our planning, and kind of come up with some budget numbers. It's broken into 3 different departments. We got 3 separate budgets: stormwater, water, and sewer. So that's what the next 10 pages is all about, all these numbers. And lastly, is our third bankment investments on the last page, which after this headwork project will be ate away a little bit. So take a picture of that page. I won't be that high again. But other than that, is there any questions?
you, sir.
information.
Very good job.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks.
He does a really nice report. Wanted to give you quickly my 8 reports. We'll start with, I had a few utilities highlights I wanted to touch on real quick. This year, in efforts of consolidation and efficiency, we now have 5 management members we now have 4 instead of 5. We downsized and sort of spread those duties out when we had a retirement. We finished up Memorial Drive and 7th Street last year, and that eliminated some major problems in our system that have been just terrible for a long time. We replaced some of our worst leaking water mains last year, completed that project. We replaced all the downtown services when the sidewalk project was being done. Those were just bad things waiting to happen under those sidewalks if we hadn't done that. We completed finally the $5 million digester project that's been going on for 3 or 4 years by installing a new generator for the first time at the wastewater plant. That is just about ready to go online full time. We had a couple of tweaks after we started it. We did a major security upgrade at the utilities. Our security was embarrassingly bad, and now we're in pretty good shape with cameras and all kinds of, we added some fencing at the wells that Captain was able to help get some grant money for. We had a solar project finally come online at all the rest of the sites. It's up and operational now during this past year. And we got the design finished for the $17 million Headworks project, and that has been, seems like at least half my time for months. So I was going to give you a quick touch over of my ADA report. I'm not going to say too much about that. It's sort of the same. Each year we do the same things. We do a little training. We upgraded a few things in the city. There was a effort led by Catherine at the park to help alleviate a situation we were having with the elevator up there that came to a successful conclusion. And really that, when you have an issue, it's sort of a good thing really, because it tests your procedures and all that. And she did the heavy lifting for sure to get that taken care of, but it sort of gave us a path forward of how we handle complaints when we have one. So our goals continue to train employees about Title VI issues and ADA issues. This year, I told you before, we're going to have to make real improvements, and we're going to be required by NDOT to make real improvements to our facilities. ADA has sort of been a concept in the past, and now it's going to, the rubber's going to have to meet the road. We're going to have to actually do things.
Which we have. That's why we
Yeah.
put the door opener here,
Yeah.
put a door opener, please. So that's the reason a lot of these, that spurred some thought, was they're going to hold, start making us do more. I'm thinking, why don't we already have some of this? Was really where I was. So
Yeah.
we're making those advancements already.
We need to update we have to upgrade our ADA transition plan.
Yep.
I would like, and I'm hoping, working with all of you, that we can establish an ADA budget for 2023 that will help us employ a consultant to help us update that plan, because it's a lot of work for somebody, and help us identify issues that we need to start fixing. Street Department highlights. You see Bonnie's report, that's sort of the nuts and bolts of the department, but I had a few things that I wanted to add. I've been real proud and appreciated all the help that we've got from Rosemary and the mayor to try to replace some equipment over there. It takes a little time to figure out. Everything over there was so broken that it took a minute to step back and see what you needed to do first. And obviously the trash trucks were at the top of the list. It's so nice to wake up in the morning and not have to worry about whether the trash truck started that day. I know the mechanics appreciate it. But we got us a UTV, and you saw it being used downtown. And we actually got a snow blade for it, and the mayor tried it out a little bit in this last snowstorm, and it is gonna be very nice for our parking lots at the very least.
Absolutely.
We got us a hot box now so we can do pothole repair. We now have arrived our new walk-behind saw and a street compactor so we can fix these potholes and stuff properly. And we got another mower this year. We'll probably try to continue to get another new mower every year till they're all new. We got a couple of used dump trucks, but we have been using them and they've been out plowing and they're pretty good trucks. We need to get some upgraded salt spreaders for those at some point. And we got that new trash truck. Second one will be delivered maybe, we thought September, but it's sort of moving up and we might even see it in May, but we don't know for sure yet. One thing we did over there that has worked very well, you've probably heard me talk about a little bit, is that we downsized the mechanic shop to 2 people. We took that extra money that the third one was costing us, and we've been able to use that to sort of farm out some of the duties of the garage that were not working out all that well, like oil changes and little minor stuff that would take us a long time to get done that we could do much quicker by just farming it out to local people. And I think that probably the local people appreciate that too. Helps them out a little bit. We've got, we're working on upgrading our office equipment over there and trying to get some new technology in the department, in the office. And we were able to create those nice perennial beds over in the courthouse parking lot. And those look really nice, and I hope to see some real growth in those, and they should really look sharp this year. Last thing for street department is we got the Park Road lights. And every time I drive up that road at night, I'm really happy with the way those look. It's very nice, and they, with a few little glitches, mostly caused by ourselves, we've had to have them worked on a little bit, but I think they're pretty good for the next few years. The transfer station highlights, Tom Creech retired this year. That was a big loss down there, but Anthony Hood, he's the operator, and I just provide overall direction for the department and helping that sort of coincide with street department and overall umbrella operations. Anthony does most of the day-to-day stuff. We keep working on the hours at the compost site and the transfer station to make those more user-friendly for everybody. We got a new mower down there for the first time ever. I think they've been getting hand-me-down mowers all along, so we got them a new one this last year. And we made some repairs and upgrades to the building. And we've been working on Mike was talking about MS4. There's some MS4 problems there with the way we store things, and we are working on a plan to get that up like it should be, in the shape it should be. Any questions? I think that probably covers it, right?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
There you go, chief. Sorry.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'll start out with January's monthly reports. As you can see, our overtime is a little high, but like the way the pay scale ended, it included part of December's also. In January, we had 2 bereavements, quite a few detective call-outs, and some sick days.
You're good now, John.
Our law reports were 867, citations 42. Accidents with injury was 7, accidents non-injuries 32. The rest made in January was 143. 17 syringe paraphernalias taken in, and we had 54 arrest calls. Patrol alone in January took in 77 grams of meth, 3 grams of heroin, and 28 grams of fentanyl. Any questions on on
I
that.
want you to explain, I want you to do something though, because when we hear numbers like that, a lot of times we don't think, that sounds like a small amount. But he explained to me,
Yeah, as far as fentanyl goes,
Fentanyl.
it takes just
how
a
many
grain. I mean,
people would
just
that
1
could
gram could
potentially
probably
kill?
several, and there's not an
I know.
exact number, but I mean, that much could.
That stuff's potent, so it takes a
Exactly.
very little bit.
Very little bit for one overdose, so. Any questions on the monthly? Okay, move on to our annual 2021 annual reports. We did 12,524 law reports, 460 citations, 93 traffic warnings, 66 accidents with injury, 3 fatals last year. Traffic stops was 2,223, arrests were 1,096. Our detectives had 160 cases last year, and we only have 18 open. Our training hours was 1,827 training hours last year. Also, last year we hired a ordinance enforcer, and these are his numbers from June through December. 97 grass violations, 94 property violations, 14 dangerous properties, 205 cars tagged, 15 towed. So that's quite a few people that is moved their vehicles or whatnot, complied with whatever he stickered them for. 9 derby car violations. Last year we had 71 reported overdoses. Out of the 71, 6 resulted in death. 49 were male, 22 were female. Average age of the overdose was 37 years old. We gave out 24 patients of 43 doses of Narcan. Our yearly total for our drug task force, they took in 456 grams of meth, 40 grams of fentanyl, seized 2 cars, 52 drug arrests, executed 12 search warrants, 103 paraphernalia needles, and they confiscated 9 guns. In '21, the police department has updated our handguns, replaced 5 old vehicles with 5 used vehicles, purchased body cameras, which we still don't have. We're waiting patiently. They kept telling us February, so we'll see. Hired an ordinance enforcer, had a drug incinerator donated. In the past, we'd have to run boxes full of drugs and paraphernalia up to Indianapolis, and we do that in-house now. We updated our computers, all our whole department's upgraded with computers. It's been probably 10 years since we got any other computers. And we had laptops for all the road officers so they can do the reports in car now, so. Any questions on the yearly totals? Okay, and I apologize for this next segment. I've mentioned in past meetings how we might be losing one of our detectives, and it could come at any time. Detective Mark Coons just found out last week that he is retiring. His last day of work is this Friday. So he gave us about a week, not his fault, but about a week for his retirement. I don't have a letter. Once I get that from him, I'll present it to the board. So I guess I'm asking for permission to go ahead and promote some officer within to replace his detective spot rather quickly. I want them to be able to go in and him be able to tell that officer what he has open and where he's at with whatever cases he's working on. So I'm asking permission to go ahead and fill his detective position.
Who you gonna, you got someone in mind?
I sent it out last week, and I've got 4 inquiries in, and I'm gonna interview them in the next couple days and then I'll let you know who it is, but I want to get them in this week if possible, at least for a day, so that he can, let them know what he's working on or where he's at on each case. So I think he said he had 4 or 5 cases open. So they'll have to be apprised of what he's working on. So and I apologize last minute, but I got information last minute also, so.
So you just need a motion from us to go ahead and go interview, and then you'll move all those persons over to that job.
Correct.
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion.
Second.
Second, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign.
On the same token, with Detective Coons leaving, it opens up another position on the police department. And I'm going to request that I have the opportunity to go through that hiring process to try and replace him also. We're still in that boat of the next academy class isn't until September, and it hasn't opened yet since the last meeting. I'd like to try to get them in there along with the other 2, if I can. I'll have to speed up this process also and call some candidates in and interview them and go through the process. So I'm just asking permission to be able to replace his Connersville police officer position.
I don't have a problem with it, but a quick question before we go. Do you think there's anybody else that's going to be retired between now and closing time for this?
Like in the last couple of years, we were an older department. It can come anytime, just depending on an officer's situation. Like an opportunity opened up for him, and it happened quick. So, it could be at that point. We have a lot of officers that have their 20 on that can go if something comes up that they, like. It could happen. Nothing this quick. It doesn't happen this quick typically. We knew about it, that he was looking into it, but he never got word until last week. But typically it doesn't happen with just a week and a half notice, so.
I'll make a motion, you go ahead and start your process to hire our second police.
Thank you.
We have a motion and a second, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Okay.
One last thing, and I just found out about this morning. I've got a resignation letter from our secretary, Jackie Pennington, who has served 26 years with our department. She submitted me a letter this morning, so we're going to have to advertise for that also. It'd be a hard position to fill, but it is what it is. We have to do it. So I just got that letter this morning, so I just want the board to be aware that we're going to be advertising for that position. So other than that, that's it.
Can I get a copy of that letter?
Yes, ma'am.
And so,
Yeah.
we need a
Need
motion.
a motion to advertise for that too.
So moved.
So here we go.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Pause.
I will try to keep it short.
Like
For the
everybody
monthly,
else.
yes, for the monthly report, obviously you have those already. We have shifted to monthly for Fun Foods and Science Isn't Scary, but we are adding a new program. It's a seniors exercise program with Tara Henry, and we'll be calling that Move, Groove, and Rejuve. Will air Wednesday, Thursday, Friday at 3 p.m. And we've already shot the first episode. I tried to work along with that, and it was quite the workout, actually. So it's fun to watch. I recommend you check that out. For the annual report, I could just ask if you have any questions. Of course, there's an awful lot in there.
I can tell you that for the year, we had 621 total programs for 337 hours, 22 minutes, which is quite a bit. I break all of that down in this, so you can see everything that we've done. I think I'll probably just jump over to page 8 to give you an update on our reach for online. We have 2,240 subscribers as of the beginning of the year. That's actually increased. We're very close to 2,500 subscribers on our YouTube channel now. And if you add all of the likes that we have, as well as the YouTube channel, we have the ability to reach, and I'm sure this crosses over a lot, but 12,840. That's probably everybody twice, but we definitely get out there and we get them. So we have that ability. The next few pages is budgeting, and what I can point out is that we were under budget last year, which was great. We always try to do that because we never know what our income is going to be. We know that it's slowly decreasing as people shift away from cable in some circumstances. So we're watching that closely. So we were under budget and quite a bit under our income level just to be safe. So. That's something that continues to concern because people are continually shifting to streaming, and right now, of course, there's no support from streaming media, although there is a lawsuit currently in the state of Indiana regarding that, because streaming media uses the right-of-ways, just as cable does, to supply entertainment, and they are not being held to the same level. But our state law does allow for that to be held at the same level. So there's a bit of an argument in court right now over that. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there. So any questions about that? I know there's an awful lot of data in there. On the last page, I gave you some photos of what we did for the year. The one in the middle I included of myself fighting off the rainstorm at the football game. So that was just for your entertainment. That was very wet. So.
So was the crowd.
Yes, very much so. That was crazy. That's all I have.
Are you looking for more programming? Or, I mean, I don't.
Always.
Okay.
If you have ideas, I'd be happy to hear of anybody that has ideas. So, yeah, definitely.
Okay.
We're always looking to expand. That's my goal.
Got it.
Expand and make it better.
Okay.
Is the kitchen still doing it monthly?
Extension Kitchen is actually not, they decided they did not want to continue that program, which is pretty sad because I was enjoying it. So we actually have an opening if there's a cook out there who wants to be a host on the cooking program. We have the facilities to produce, and we'd be happy to do that, keeping in mind that we don't have a full kitchen. We have like little cook pot type burner shells, whatever you call those things. But they actually work pretty well for cooking, so, but we would like to continue that. So we're just looking for a chef that wants to be a host of that program.
Cool.
So, you like to cook? I like to eat, that's why we need somebody to come in and run the show. So,
She's a chili expert.
yes. All right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, move on.
Thank you.
Moving down to old business. Is there any old business? Up miscellaneous. Claims.
Oh my gosh. Payroll claims was $424,897.75. The city claims was $143,313.90. Utility claims was $629,489.64.
Motion to approve the claims?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Okay, anybody from the public out there, Clint? All right, we'll take a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.